So Austin, what the fuck? Why don't you like Frozen? What?
Jesus Christ, man!
No, you're not getting off the hook. You threw that at me at the last 10 seconds of last show. We're doing this right now. It's time to throw down. What's so great about Tangled? Oh, I'm in a tower, but I don't know how to get down. Here's an idea. You spend the whole opening song talking about all the things you've learned to do since you're isolated in a tower. Why don't you learn how to build a fucking rope? Go down there and explore the world. There's literally no reason for you not to do that. What the fuck, Austin? What is so great about Tangled over Frozen? We're doing this now. Roll up.
I just want to acknowledge how great it was. That the last couple seconds of the last episode, you said we'd start this again next week, and in the first couple seconds of this one, you just launched into it. Your dedication is admirable.
No, yeah, this is part 2 of last week's episode. It's a cliffhanger.
We have great continuity on this show.
Yeah.
How come you didn't end it with the Star Trek: The Next Generation, like da 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 da?
No,
I don't get that reference.
Da, da, da.
No, I like Tangled too. Tangled's actually a really good movie. I'm just fucking with you. So there's that.
I know what you're thinking. I'm gonna do it again, but I'm not.
Okay.
I'm afraid to say anything.
Right.
Johnny's just gonna interrupt me.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Word Funk. I'm Leon Thomas. I'm joined by Johnny Maloney and Austin Yorsky. We are recording this on Wednesday night, which is also New Year's Eve.
In America.
Yeah, and it's a little after 9 p.m. Eastern. So
let's be serious though. Wednesday night anywhere would have been New Year's Eve. It's just that.
Well, no, it's Thursday in England right now. So.
Yeah, I know, but we're not recording it on Thursday, so...
We could be, though, if one of us was not here.
But we all are. I mean, like, there's no debate in terms of what day or what year it is between the three of us, so quit mincing words!
Okay, the point is, we are three guys who have significant others, and yet we are spending New Year's Eve, which is usually considered to be one of the more romantic-ish days of the year together. So I think
what kind of fucking New Year's Eves have you been spending that it's a romantic evening?
Everyone says that you have to if you don't have a date on New Year's Eve, it's considered sad, and if you don't kiss someone on New Year's Eve when some kind of ball drops or something, then it's bad or something, or so popular culture.
Leon, my balls dropped a long time ago, alright?
So popular culture has led me to believe. My wife is in the other room. I don't know where your significant others are.
My girlfriend doesn't get home from work until 8 a.m. So.
Oh, that sucks.
My girlfriend is babysitting. I say babysitting, that makes it sound like a parent has hired her, but no. My girlfriend is actually looking after, I think, 2 autistic children that are sponsored by the state, and she will be there until 10 o'clock in the morning, 2015. In the future. Yeah.
In the comments of this episode, tell us how the future is, because this is going to be posted in 2015. What uniform spandex outfit are you wearing? What color? Is it beige?
Is it hypercolor, or is it warp color, or is it like, I don't even know. We have to invent new colors, or systems of color. Is it 64? Do you have a 64-bit shirt?
Oh my!
You guys are the worst.
We really are.
Just the worst.
Okay, so this year, Austin, we were talking about a week ago about how you think this was a bad year for movies. I strongly disagree, but I think you haven't seen enough good movies. I think that's the issue. You just haven't gotten out enough.
That's absolutely true. You see a lot more new movies than I do. We're kind of like the opposite. We're like, I keep up with games, but not movies, and you're the opposite of that. But, I mean, it's just from me, like, generally kind of watching the movies go by and saying, oh, I'm not really interested in that, I'm not really interested in that. So, I mean, I would go out more if they looked more interesting, perhaps. But this year, like, I only went to Guardians of the Galaxy, and it was fucking awesome. But that's... You saw a bunch and you loved them. So, I mean, you just made a video. Let's just plug your show, Leon. You just made a video of your top 10 favorite movies of the year.
I did. The new Renegade cut is up on Channel Awesome right now. And you can look at that. And you will know exactly what movies you need to watch because I'm telling you. That's how that works.
On your recommendation, I have found my way to a couple of movies. I've got Enemies sitting on my PDR right now.
All right.
Because I'm all like, I should watch Enemy, because Leon talked about it.
Are any of those things on Netflix? I know Snowpiercer is, and I've seen it. It was okay. But the rest of them...
I am told that Under the Skin is on Netflix now. I could be wrong. I can't check.
Yes! It is!
Okay, there you go.
Okay, I'll watch that then.
That's the best movie of the year.
I've added that to my list.
Sweet. You just gave away your best movie of the year, Leon. Are you going to make a video for your least favorite movies? Or
is it?
There's two reasons why. The first one is that I don't watch a lot of bad movies that just come out because that's not my thing. That's everyone else on the website, basically. I like really good movies, so I avoid anything I think is probably going to be bad.
Yeah.
So there's that. The other reason is that doesn't light a fire under me to write. So that never really ends up being one of my episodes unless it's something like Man of Steel where I just have a lot to say for some reason.
Well, I mean, you went into that wanting it to be good. You didn't go in hoping to pull it apart, right? It just so happened to be bad.
No, I love Superman. I love comic books. I love superheroes. I love big, explosive-looking action movies. So it seemed like the kind of thing I might like.
Love them, why don't you marry them?
Let's just ignore Johnny. I mean, now that I don't get review copies anymore, I'm not going to waste my money on bad stuff on purpose, but I still do think it's interesting to see why something failed. So I think at least it helps you appreciate good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually planning on doing something about Transformers sometime in 2015, but that will require me to watch the third and fourth Transformers movie. So I'm not looking forward to that. It doesn't excite me to watch a bad movie so I can rip it apart. Usually, bad movies just appear, and I was hoping they would be good, or I got dragged to it, and I ended up hating it. I did have one idea, and that is, as a joke, to make a video called The 10 Worst Movie Scenes in 2014, and the first 8 would be about Jersey Boys, and then number 9 would be something else, and then the last one would be Jersey Boys again.
So I'm taking that as your answer for worst movie of the year, then.
I hate... Did I talk about Jersey Boys on this show? I feel like I must have.
Yeah, your wife loved it, right?
Yes, she loved it. I hated it so much. I can't even explain. Basically, in addition to it being one of those jukebox musicals where the pre-existing songs are there and they just sing them again, they also did two things I really hate when it comes to telling, like, quote-unquote true stories. This is Shakespeare in Loving. No, I mean, whenever a movie that's based on, like, true events or, like, a popular musician or something, they Shakespeare in love it. They say, they have these guys talking about something completely unrelated to something, and then someone says the title of their most famous song or their most famous book, and they all look at each other like, oh, that's the thing! And that happened like 4 or 5 times in Jersey Boys. They're like sitting around a living room, and I forget exactly what brought this on, but they were saying, oh, I just feel so bad about this. And then the other one says, man, you just gotta walk like a man. And they all look at each other like, oh! And then they start singing it.
But Leon, how interesting is it if they portray those realistically where they're just sitting alone writing and they just write those words in the paper?
Hang on, we are talking about Jersey Boys here, so really it would be them sitting in a studio with, like, you know, a bunch of guys in another room that maybe has a glass door or something like that, and then one asshole walks out, hands them a sheet of paper, and goes, it's called Walk Like a Man.
Get it? Because people didn't write their own music back then?
No, I get it. So anyway, no, the other thing I hated about it was how they glorified New Jersey. What happened is... No, I have nothing against New Jersey. I've been there a bunch of times. It's a fine place.
Wait, you've been there and you have nothing against it?
Not much. I mean, really, you go there, my in-laws are there, it's a nice place to visit and have someone else pump your gas. That's basically what New Jersey is. It's not a bad place. I know, like, popular culture has made it seem, like, really seedy. It's just some place. But that's the thing. It's called Jersey Boys, and they reference New Jersey so many times in it that you have to assume they really just wanted everyone in New Jersey to come see the show, so that they sit there in the audience and go, that's us up there, and they have all these weird, like, references to making New Jersey sound like the Holy Land. Basically, there's all these scenes where they, like, let me give you an example, because it's easier if I just give examples. The two members of the band are talking. And they, one of them comes up with a business idea for them to do as a side project. And the other one says, yeah, it's a really good idea. Let's do that. And the first one says, okay, I'll write up, like, some paperwork and we'll get started on it right away. And the second one says, no, we don't need a contract. Shake my hand. That's the Jersey contract. And they look at each other like, yeah, that's exactly a good business decision to make. And we're supposed to, as the audience, find these people to be like, we're supposed to look up to them, or we're supposed to, I guess, if we lived in New Jersey, clap at that point, but it's ridiculous. The other thing, not to give way too many spoilers, but later in the movie, one of the...
Yeah, because I'm really worried about Jersey Boys spoilers.
Later in the movie...
Fucking Romeo and Juliet got ruined the minute I learned at the very beginning that they were gonna die, and Jersey Boys spoilers? Fuck, Leon, that's too much.
Later in the movie, one of the members of the band turns out to be just a massive screw-up. He really just messes up the band, and he screws everyone over, and just to paraphrase, one of the characters, he sort of looks at the camera, because they all have one of those moments where they get into like a soliloquy, and then he looks at the camera, and he says, I can't remember the character's name, but let's pretend his name is Tommy, and he says, you know, Tommy's been really screwing up lately. He took all of our money, he gambled it away, he put us all in debt, he's been screwing around with the law, he's getting involved in drugs, he's messing us up so bad, and I know it would be better for both him and the band if we all just went our separate ways. And then he looks all serious and he says, but if you think we're kicking him out of the band, then you're not from New Jersey! I just sat there like, shut the fuck up. New Jersey is not the Vatican. It is not some wonderful place where it's not the Holy Land. It's not a place of knights and chivalry. It's just some place where they have a lot of Wawas.
Leon, I think you can back me up on this, but I don't really get being proud of where you're from as a Floridian. That's not you're a Baltimorean. That's not a good thing, right?
No, I was born in Baltimore. I have no great pride about it, and I don't mean it like I'm ashamed of it. It's just where I happen to be born. I've lived a bunch of other states and a bunch of other countries. Circumstances brought me back to Baltimore. I'm not going to live here the rest of my life. There's no great sense of pride about the fact that, like, I got spat out in a hospital. That happened.
It wasn't your accomplishment.
No, it absolutely was not. I guess I could feel proud of Baltimore is if I lived here and I started a small business here and I contributed directly to the community in some significant way, and I was like a local hero or something. But mostly I just pay rent here. The rent is really low though, so it's nice. But beyond that, it's just a nice place to... Well, no, it's not a nice place to live. It's a place that I can afford.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never been, super into being proud of your circumstances. It just seems weird to me.
By federal law, I am required to be humble about being a Canadian, or my pride of being a Canadian. However, I can... extol the virtues of Canada as being a great place, eh?
It seems pretty good.
Oh, it's lovely, eh?
Are there as many moose as it seems?
Well, that depends where you go.
I just want to know if you interact with them on a daily basis.
Oh, me? God, no. No. I leave many, 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 many mooseless encounters in my past as the year jumps forward. The problem is that for such a large landmass, we hug the border, the southern border to the U.S. As far as population density goes. So it's like once you just get a little far north,
wasteland, tundra.
You're gonna be in Moosetown. Play The Long Dark if you haven't. I mean, if you want to know what it's like to live in the Canadian northern, play The Long Dark, where you will come upon what looks like roads and be like, yeah, it's this way, and then suddenly discover yourself in the forest and be like, where'd the road go?
I saw a Canadian horror movie recently, and I don't mean like a horror movie that happened to be filmed in Canada, because like lots of films are filmed in Canada. Yes. I mean a Canadian horror movie that was like distinctly Canadian.
Like the killer drowned people in maple syrup.
It was called Tusk, and it's Kevin Smith's latest movie. He is not Canadian. Yeah. He just filmed it in Canada, and is planning a Canadian horror trilogy, actually.
Yeah, he's spent a lot of time in Canada, actually. Kevin Smith directed an episode of Degrassi High.
Oh.
Because he loved it when he was a kid. He was like, yeah, Degrassi High is the shit, yo.
That explains why there is a Degrassi reference in the movie.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen it, Tusk is about a person who visits Canada because he hosts a podcast and he has to do something there, and then someone kidnaps him and misshapes his body until he looks kind of like a walrus. And as I say that, I realize how ridiculous that sounds. But it's actually, now it's not good, but it's entertaining, and it has the weirdest, like,
I like it how you lead into this, or you lead into this having just come off the foot where you're like, I don't watch bad things. I only watch good things. But let me tell you about this movie where a guy makes a man into a walrus and how Canadian it is.
It's actually, it's not bad. The problem with the film is that it's paced very poorly. And it is marketed terribly because you wouldn't know it by the promotion of it or the poster for it, but Johnny Depp is in this movie in a supporting role, but a pretty big supporting role. He's like one of the biggest stars in the world, and he's not part of the promotion of the movie at all. It's like halfway through the movie, Johnny Depp shows up, and Johnny Depp's all over this movie and makes it kind of watchable after it started to drag. And it's like, why didn't I know Johnny Depp was in this movie? Shouldn't that be on the poster? Shouldn't Johnny Depp's big fucking face just be the poster? And it just says, starring the guy from the Mac commercials. And
maybe Johnny Depp was sick of just, like, being the Johnny Depp in movies. Because, I mean, for fuck's sakes, Tim Burton has plastered that man's face over everything he possibly could. He's been a vampire, a Native American, a pirate. I'm sure if we dug deep enough, we could find Johnny Depp in blackface.
Johnny Depp actually plays someone from Quebec, and he does a French accent and wears a beret. So
okay, but does he do a French-Canadian accent? Because
I can't tell.
Let me tell you something about French and French-Canadian. When you go to France and speak French-Canadian, it doesn't go over well. The difference is in a lot of the dialect. There's a lot of mutational speech. I mean, it's not as though that France French has a reputation of being haughty or snobby or slightly above, I don't know, everybody in the European Union, right? So imagine that somebody from another country that's had, 100 or so years to mess with the pronunciation and the dialect, show up in your hometown and go, wow, hey, this is great! You guys are amazing!
I want you to do the rest of the show in that accent, Johnny.
It's not gonna happen. Not today. Not today. I don't have the energy today.
So we talked about that Walrus movie. That was a thing that happened.
Yeah, we have no plan for this episode. I'm just going to tell the audience now. We came into this thing and said, let's just talk about what happened this year. And that could be anything. So
yeah. I mean, the vague structure is like best and like worst movies and games and stuff. So do you want to move on, Johnny, to your whatever you want to say about movies?
What do I want to say about movies? I had a pretty chill year with movies, to tell you the truth.
Cool.
Well, when I say chill, I just mean in the sense that I didn't go out and see any. I did not go to the theater at all this year.
Oh.
Do people do that anymore? Is that even going to be a thing for much longer?
I go every week, but that's me.
They've actually, there's a new thing, pardon me, in the Vancouver area. I don't know how widespread it is, but they've started opening up experimental theaters where you pay like a premium price, which will be like, $20, $25. In American, I think that's like 3 cents, 5 pounds. I don't know. But it's like you get large padded seats with armrests and drinks and servers, and you get swag like T-shirts or what have you. There's food. You even get to see the movies in advance. So you can pay $20, $30 or something and see the movies 2 weeks before they come out, and they have these promotional things, and they're really small capacity theaters and really well built and whatnot. And it's proved a really lucrative business apparently in the Vancouver Regional District. So yeah, people do go out to theaters still. I mean, we shouldn't. I guess there are people out there still who kind of think to themselves, "Oop, it's date night. Time to treat the little man to something fancy. He wants to go see Guardians of the Galaxy." But I did not get to go see Guardians of the Galaxy this year. I mean, I got to. I just declined repeatedly because I am the sort of person who would rather sit in front of my TV, which is giant. I have a giant. Leon can attest to this.
It is big. It is very, very big.
It's a big TV. And so I just said, or I can wait a few months, get the Blu-ray, and watch it on my big TV. I have not yet done that, because I thought I was going to get it for Christmas. I didn't.
Oh. I should have got
you an adult? Can't you get your own Christmas stuff?
Austin, don't you tell me how me and my family do Christmas.
I don't know. I haven't gotten or given, like, any real gifts. I mean, Leon sent me a book. That was very nice. I said that.
Okay.
I said that. I just did. But I'm saying with my friends or family or anything for, like, a decade. It just seems weird in the internet age where we can all buy our own stuff and we are all adults. Does anybody else think that? No? Am I weird?
You are weird. How dare you? Johnny, I actually, the thing I sent you was not Guardians of the Galaxy. I sent another of my friends Guardians of the Galaxy. Now I feel bad.
No, that's fine, because I would have sprung for I want the 3D Blu-ray with, like, the regular Blu-ray inside Guardians of the Galaxy DVD, so I can lend it to friends and be like, you can keep that whenever you want. I'm going to watch it in 3D. Christmas is a big deal for my family, particularly because how my father approached Christmas.
All right.
Which was with enthusiasm. My father passed away in 2006. To something stupid. And since then, my family has made a very concerted effort to keep it up, because the best way to remember the people who are dear but gone is to maintain the habits that they helped inject into your life. So yeah. I mean, okay, fine. I'm an adult. I can buy my own shit. I still do Christmas. Go fuck yourself, Austin.
Ow! I hope that when I'm gone, everyone will, as a tribute to me, will just make an ass of themselves on the internet, like, all the time. I mean, people already do, but they can source me.
They'll think about you while they're doing it.
Yeah.
I absolutely, I will. You know, if I outlive you, which is, I don't know, I do have universal health care.
Yeah, Johnny, you're going to outlive both of us.
I guess he's the youngest, so he's going to marry us both.
But no, I live fast. I'm going to die young, guys.
Oh, okay. We were used to be known for talking about video games. This year was... Yeah, we used to be. This year was not known for being a great... What?
I'm sorry, I just need to clarify this. People listened to the BT podcast and they thought it was about video games?
Kind of. But yeah, we used to sort of be known, we were sort of known for talking about video games, so maybe we should now. In 2014, we talked about this a few weeks ago, it was not a great year for big AAA games, but there must have been some things you guys liked. I played a bunch of games, but nothing that just came out. So I can't really speak about 2014 games that much. What about you guys? What were the big games for you?
I mean, me and Johnny talked about this a little bit earlier, but there was a great year for a couple of genres and for indie games and stuff, but overall, especially in the AAA sphere, it was a total letdown. And, I mean, we both have favorite games. I think I've said before, both here and on Twitter, that Super Smash Bros. For Wii U is the best game, hands down, for me. There's not even any competition. Like, I'll bring it over to my friend's house, and we'll invite, like, 8 people over, and we'll play until dawn. Just, it's disgusting, and nothing else is even competition for that.
I like you describe your favorite game as disgusting. This game makes me so happy that I'm also sick.
It's an enabler of disgusting behavior.
I want to clarify that I don't necessarily think that this was a terrible year for games. I think it was a really disappointing one.
Right.
I mean, I think if it wasn't a bad year, then no year is bad. I mean, obviously there's always going to be some good stuff, you know, but no year is ever going to be 0 good games. But this is about as close as it could realistically get.
I like, the thing about this year is that I feel that it promised so much and under-delivered, like, below how we're used to being under-delivered to.
Well, yeah, I mean, most of the hype stuff turned out to be, like, mediocre at best. Titanfall, Destiny, Watch Dogs, like, all the things that we expected to be huge were just like, meh, that was okay. So I can definitely see if you're just more underwhelmed than disappointed, than, you know, like, abjectly like, oh my god, this is awful, burn it to the ground and salt the earth.
I am. I am terribly underwhelmed. That's it. Not necessarily bad. This is the worst year for gaming. I won't say that, but it was certainly underwhelming, even disappointing in that sense. But I do believe that there were plenty of places for gaming this year that we saw some things shine. We saw growth, we saw interest, we saw weird subversion, new ideas, like all kinds of things. It was a great year for experimentation. It was a good year for broadening horizons, old classics coming back, like genres and titles and things like that. It was a multifarious year in video gaming.
I said to you before we started, though, like, this was the year of the renaissance for the computer RPG between Dragon Age Inquisition, Divinity Original Sin, Wasteland 2. Like, if you were waiting for that, this was your year.
Yeah, it's been huge for the CRPG. Although, I mean, I haven't sat down and played Dragon Age Inquisition, but you would know more than I, Austin, whether or not it fits those. Does it have, like, a truly intensive equipment inventory system?
My problem, like, if I was to sit down and review Dragon Age, it would be, like, 9 paragraphs of gushing and, like, 5 really angry paragraphs about the inventory management. That's my biggest problem with it. It's a great game in a lot of ways. It's very funny. It's very beautiful. It's very, like, I can't stop playing it. But every time I have to go like change equipment, I scream at God, at the cruel God who let that get through QA. Jeez, especially after Destiny, which has such an amazing user interface. I feel like the bar is just so far above that now that AAA developers cannot make such disgusting, messy inventory systems. It seems like a minor thing, but it's really a pain in the ass.
Yeah. But we saw releases of Wasteland 2, which was kickstarted. We saw releases for Divinity Original Sin, also kickstarted. And I mean, Divinity Original Sin is owning. I just picked it up a couple of months ago, and I've been playing through it cooperative with a friend of mine from work. And it's spectacular. It even accounts for the possibility that you want to disagree with one another. Like, if you get to a point in time where you have a conversation with a person who's like, oh, okay, well, here's what you want to do, and you disagree, you get to rock, paper, scissors for it.
For
and you can be like,
those who are unfamiliar, there's two protagonists, right?
Yeah. Even single player, when you play Divinity Original Sin single player, you control two people. And you can play co-op where your friend takes control of the other person. And yeah, if you get into a situation where you have to make a choice and you disagree, you can rock, paper, scissors. Quite literally rock, paper, scissors it. And whoever wins gets the authority, and that's it. So you can, like, go retrieve this great thing for that guy because he's going to give you a little bit of information, but your buddy is like, whoa, this is really good. I want to use it. And you're like, no, we have to bring it to the guy. We made an honorable agreement. And then you get to him, and he's like, no, I'm keeping this. And you, like, 1, 2, 3, rock, paper, scissors, and if he wins, he gets to keep it. Like, it's so cool. And Pillars of Eternity is in its early access, and I fucking love it. And if you love Baldur's Gate or Planescape Torment and you don't have Pillars of Eternity, I don't know what's wrong with you, and I can't tell you. Yeah, the CRPG is fucking amazing right now. Dead State, that's another one. Dead State. Oh, man. Yeah.
And Shadowrun Returns got another campaign?
Yeah, absolutely. And they're going for another one, too, as well. I think they're going to kickstart another Shadowrun Returns, but I don't know for sure. It's only been teaser images right now. The Return of the Space game. I mean, Elite Dangerous just released a couple of weeks ago. Star Citizen is well into the $60 million funding mark from crowdfunding, which I think is batshit crazy. But they've got their Arena Commander 1.0, which means all the single player, like single pilot ships are up, and you can dogfight with friends, and they have like friendship lobbies now and everything, and it's just... It's on its way. You can tell that these things are going to be made, you know?
Yeah. Also, Nintendo had a really good year. Bayonetta 2, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, Mario Kart 8. Like, there is good stuff, and I don't think... I stand by that this was a terrible year relatively, but don't take that to mean there is nothing redeemable or valuable in it. It's just that the last many years have been pretty good, and that there's always something worthwhile, no matter how bad a year is, right? Like, I say this about, like, video games in general. It's like, I don't know how much reviews are even useful in this day and age, because even the most broken game, like, if you get some friends over to play Aliens Colonial Marines and get, like, messed up, it's gonna be fun, right? If you have some people to laugh along with you or whatever, that everything's a little bit fun. So.
Jeez, that's always what I've said about the original Borderlands, and nobody seems to agree with me.
Mm.
You just don't like good games, Johnny. That's your problem.
I will say this:
awesome.
my year has been mostly about playing the games from the past few years and trying to catch up. I finished Tales of Grace's F. No, that's not true. I finished Tales of Grace's. I have yet to play the F part, and I will. But mostly,
Leon.
Yeah.
Leon.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Okay.
George,
You found Just Cause 2.
Well, the thing is, here's the thing. Although I don't read walkthroughs for how to finish games, I do read the titles to the chapters of walkthroughs just to see how far along I am. I'm really close to the end. And even though I'm having a lot of fun, once those credits roll, I'm done with this game for probably forever. So after I do that, I'm probably going to play the F part of Tales of Graces, and then I guess God of War Ghosts of Sparta, which is just sitting there waiting for me. Then Tales of Zillia.
Spoilers, he kills a bunch of dudes, Leon.
Kratos
kills a bunch of dudes.
Then I'm going to play Tales of Zillia, because it's also just sitting there. And when I'm done all that, I have no... Wait, no, that's not true. I have Skyward Sword to play. When I'm done all those, it'll be 2016. And then and I'll probably have to buy a new game. I'm thinking I might play Dark Souls, but we'll see.
I wish I could live like you, Leon. Not only do you save so much money, but you only have to play like stuff that you're interested in. Where I'm like, I'm at a point where I feel like beholden to even series I don't really like that much. I'm like, shit, I have to check out how Shoot Man 78 went. Fuck.
Oh, I do have news. I have started playing a game that only came out like a couple years ago, which is amazing. Basically, my wife has been, like, insisting that I shouldn't say it like that, like she's twisting my arm. She has to, like, force me to play a game. No, she's been, like, really, trying to get me to play The Walking Dead for a while now, ever since she got it. I can't remember when the first season of Walking Dead came out. Was it last year?
It was 2012.
2012, okay, so 2 years ago, it came out. And Season 2 is on right now. But anyway, I'm starting to play Season 1 of Walking Dead. But here's the thing. When someone tells me I am going to feel a certain way...
You feel... to spite them, you have to not?
I don't... Here's the thing. I like it... I try to be easygoing, and I try not to be a contrarian, like, just for the sake of it. But if someone sits me down and says, you are going to get so invested in these characters, you're going to want so much to protect this little girl, I feel like, don't tell me what to love. First of all, I hate children. I've grown to hate them recently. We talked about this before. Not all children. Some are cute, but some are just awful. And so as soon as she told me all that, and I sat down and started to play the game, I said, I'm going to do everything I can to alienate my character from all the other characters. I'm going to play this game like the worst piece of shit I could possibly do. Like, the game gives me a bunch of, like, moral choices. Most of the choices are all terrible. It's always like, eat a kitten or shoot a baby. Which one do you do? Both are just terrible, but you have to decide in the moment.
Leon, you're like, I have 2 hands.
But the thing is, the game is like that. I appreciate that it has greater moral complexity than the sort of binary good versus evil stuff. Like if you're playing Infamous, you're sitting there, and then like you get into his internal monologue, and he's like, there's a big box of food there. I could use that food to feed the town for a week. Everybody's starving. Or I could eat all the food and bludgeon a puppy to death with the box. You know, you're either the greatest saint or you're Mum-Ra the ever-living, and there's no in-between. So anyway, I like that about The Walking Dead, but I've decided to just play it as the worst possible character. But the problem is, the game won't let me be too terrible. It can let me be terrible enough that people call me an asshole, and I can like... Oh, here's the worst thing I've done. Early in the game, there's a sort of a choice where there's this zombie attack, and there's a little kid who's about to be eaten by a zombie named Duck. There's this other guy who's about to be eaten by a zombie whose name I don't remember. And you have to decide if you're going to save Duck or save the grown man. Now, part of you thinks, he's a kid, I've got to save him, and that's the right choice. But the other part of you thinks, we've got to save the adult because we're a group, and frankly, the adult will help us survive longer, and maybe that's better in the long run. So those are your 2 moral choices that you have to make right there. I decided to do nothing. I stood there and waited for zombies to eat. Unfortunately, my plan didn't work. They only still killed one person, and Duck survived.
Yeah.
I was hoping that
Actually,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying, Leon, in that particular case, no matter what you do, Duck survives. You can't choose. Yeah, that's the thing about The Walking Dead is there are a lot of choices, but there are some where the point is that you are powerless, and you chose to take a stand on one of those.
Yeah. No. My point. I was really hoping they would both die. I was really hoping to get. I want the worst ending, basically. But here's the thing. The game will only let me be so much of an asshole, because in the end, I'm still protecting this girl, but here's how I've justified it in my head, where I think my character still is evil. In my head canon of my character, he's only keeping her around for food.
Leon.
And I mean, her name is Clementine, that's... So why would she be named that? And the little boy, Duck. All the kids are named after food. What else am I supposed to take away from that?
Leon's little cannibalism nursery.
So, I mean, in my head, my character is just keeping her around until things get really bad, and then he'll just, stab her in the back of the head with the claw side of a hammer, and then we just zoom into his face as, the music and he says, "That's good, Clementine." And then...
You're a monster, Leon. It's great.
I am.
I've previously established that I hate children, in all shapes and sizes, but I make an exception for Clementine. I really like her as a character. I just finished the second season, of The Walking Dead, literally earlier today.
All right.
And I love the first season, but the second season is a step down, unfortunately. It's not bad, but it's not good. It's not great, at least.
Okay.
But I think you should play it multiple times, Leon, because there's a lot of good stuff.
I don't play anything multiple times. What's it's very
idea? Who has time for that?
I have time
for that.
Telltale games are really short.
I have things to do. The idea of doing the same thing I've already done when I have such limited time to do anything just doesn't.
I understand if it's a 30 or 40 hour RPG, but Telltale games you can beat in a day. I don't know. But
still don't have that much time. Maybe I can sit down and play through it. Well, I have off tomorrow. God damn it, my Skype recorder stopped recording. I'm just using Johnny's version. Fuck this.
What? I hope it's still going.
Me too!
Okay, no, it's not.
What?
No, it stopped.
Oh, God. Alright, hold on. For God's sake, this is terrible.
Our New Year's Eve episode is just going to be a fucking Rickroll. There's no other way to salvage this.
Alright, hold on. Just wait. God, everything is bad.
Yeah.
Thing never going to give you up.
Wait till I'm recording.
We're no strangers to love. You know the rules, and so do I. I need the lyrics.
God damn it. Are you recording?
We're no strangers to love. No. Should I be?
Yeah, start recording before you start singing songs.
Maybe I'm recording. I'm not getting the recording icon. It looks like I'm getting the recording icon. Maybe I'm getting the recording icon. The icon, which usually is okay, yeah, I think it's recording.
Okay. Well, before we go, because we have to go, what do you guys have any resolutions for the new year? Or is that not a thing that people do?
Yeah, I'm looking at 4K resolution, with, at the very least, I'm thinking 90 frames per second, but I know that most games cap at about 60 right now.
Wouldn't 90 frames per second look weird? That's too many.
I don't.
No, I've got a monitor that renders at 120, but, so few games.
It's not about whether you can, it's whether you should.
I think you should, Austin. I think you should render at 90 frames a second. In fact, I want to see you render at 90 frames a second right now.
What am I supposed to do? Render things at 60 frames per second, like a pilgrim or something? We're in the future.
Jesus, Austin, like, we're almost into the new year, and not like just any new year, but like the new year. Like, this is the newest year that's ever been, and you're all like, 90 frames per second sounds so fucking, I don't know.
That's a great impression of us. Okay, we really do have to go. Anything you guys want to say before we wrap up? Easily our worst episode.
I don't even know if it counts as an episode. I do just want to say that Frozen sucks.
Wow. Such a good movie. You're wrong. The end. Johnny, anything you want to say?
Yeah, I want to give a quick top 10 video games list of the year.
Fine, hurry.
Is that cool? Jazzpunk, South Park Stick of Truth, Resident Evil 4 for PC, fuck you. Banner Saga, Wolfenstein, The New Order, The Vanishing of Ethan Carter, Sherlock Holmes, Crimes and Punishment, Alien Isolation, Divinity Original Sin, and tied for first place, Valkyria Chronicles and Metal Gear Revengeance. Also because fuck you. Really, Resident Evil 4, it came out with new textures, and it's been out for like fucking years. And there was a PC version that came out ages ago.
Uh-huh.
That was just downright stupid. Because, have you played Resident Evil 4, Leon?
I've played the part of the first one.
Okay, well, there are QuickTime events in the fourth one that's like, hey, press square, press square, press square, right? And when it came to PC, those QuickTime events didn't translate to what you had bound to your keys. So if you're like, oh, I want the button that would be square to be F, it wouldn't be like press F, press F, press F. It would be like press action, press action, press action. And you're like, what the fuck is action? I've got like all these goddamn keys on my keyboard, and I've just been using them intuitively. I don't know what the fuck action is!
Oh.
And it didn't use mouse aiming either, which is the biggest sin you can make.
Oh. I gotta go. Happy New Year, you guys. And
Fuck 2014!
Yeah, it was bad. 2014, I'm looking forward to the sequel, 2015, because 2014, it was, racist? Yeah, let's say it was racist.
It was sexist, too.
It was all the ists. It was just a really bad year for progress, wasn't it?
It was reformist?
It was regressive.
Okay.
Alright.
Although, you know what? We should say this much.
What?
WordFunk started in 2014.
It's true.
And we all know that the first sequel is better than the original.
Oh, okay. Well, we gotta up our game. I don't know how we'll do that, though.
We have richer character. We've got more plot lines.
It's usually darker, too.
Now that scares me.
Austin, you're gonna have to, go emo. Austin, are you even there?
No, he's not. See, look, he's already done it. He's like, fuck it, I'm done with you guys. Swoop hair off to the side, and that's it.
I have to go. Bye. Austin, if you are there and I just can't hear you, Happy New Year.